Hi, we're here today to discuss the men tell all. Just as a heads up, if you are like one of those gung-ho Luke P haters, you are not going to like this video because I'm about to stick up for him with my feet like firmly planted on the ground. But later on. So let's just first start with the Peter and his girlfriend drama, because that kind of happened in between the last episode and this episode. And I feel like it just, got to give my opinion. So I know Nick Viall gave his opinions about how people break up and it's whatever and everybody needs to just get over it. But to me, it's fishy. First of all, if this girl was telling the truth, then she really truly was completely blindsided. Peter tells her that he loves her, he wants to move in with her, and then all of a sudden just cuts it off because it's getting too serious. Well, yeah, wasn't that your idea? It had to have happened, the breakup, when he found out that he actually at least had a chance of being on the show. Like they were probably actively pursuing him, and he probably knew, well, it's not really a good idea to be in a relationship and still be trying to get on this show. That's common thinking, common sense, common thinking. But at least be honest about it. Don't just completely cut her off. And the fact that he very barely talked about his relationship on the show, it made it seem like he was devastated. If he's talking about this relationship with Kaylee, then that's really stinking weird. I just didn't get a good feeling about it. Now, it's not nearly as bad as the Jed situation with his girlfriend, but still, all the more reason to pick Tyler. So let's get into it. So we start with a rose ceremony from the episode before, and Hannah tells Chris that she needs to assess her feelings when she is out there and she can see them all. That is the world's worst strategy ever. How did it work out for you last time? Oh yeah, you ended up keeping 4 people for fantasy suites. And now, I don't know if you realize this, but at the end, you can only pick one. Then Luke shows up, and this was a little bit crazy. He comes prepared to propose, and I'm questioning the merits he thinks that their relationship has that would qualify them for being marriage ready. I don't think they're there. But then again, if he stuck around for only one more week, then, marriage happens. So it's not really that out of the ordinary. And then he just walks in and stands right next to the guys like he's part of the group. And this was hilarious because the guys literally had no idea. But then as Hannah starts walking out, all I can think is Luke must be pooping his pants. I don't know what kind of reaction he was hoping to get there, but he tries to get her to talk to him, and she does the rose stand move, which was really funny. And then the guys decide to jump in, but understandably so, because Luke once again is refusing to leave. And Hannah wants him to. So they're like sticking up for the girl, It's cool. But then they all just start hoarding him like the pack of hyenas going after Simba. And then Chris finally comes out and he just settles things like the guidance counselor that he is. And Luke takes off, and we once again don't know who goes home. And we have another instance where the Bachelor makes it all about Luke. But that's just one instance in this whole show. Just one tiny little one. But it's funny because all these guys are like high-fiving each other, throwing a party because Luke is finally gone. But like, hello, you're all fighting for the same girl. It's like the Hunger Games. You're all allies now, but eventually you're going to have to murder each other. Then we finally get to the Men Tell All segment of the show. And of course, Luke is the first one to come out, and there aren't even any guys in the chairs, which was probably a good idea because I don't know how well it would have gone if he had all of them in there while he's trying to, give people his side of the story. But Luke walks out and not a single soul cheers or claps for him. I'm sure that they were told, like, don't clap. But it's still wicked rude and just so disrespectful. I'm just so sick of it. So, right from the start, I'm feeling like I need to come to his defense. And then the audience is making the worst fake faces of disgust I've ever seen in my life. Like, I need an acting class. I was getting livid, and that was only the beginning. So Chris Harrison starts questioning him, and Chris did a really good job of just not taking sides and staying very level throughout the whole thing. But he brings up the whole premarital sex and Luke's views on that and how it was handled. And Luke's answer, I thought, was understandable. But then Chris makes the good point of, so why didn't you just leave if that was kind of an ultimatum for you? And then I thought Luke had another good response. He points out that it was a special relationship, that there was love and feelings involved, and anybody in their right mind knows that when you have really strong feelings for someone, you can't just walk away in a situation like that. You're approaching them, asking them a question, hoping for a certain answer, and they don't give you that specific answer. Then you're like, oh, okay, so how can we make this work? I feel like that's kind of your instinct when you're in love with somebody. So I don't think that what he did was like outlandish. But Luke is again getting grilled, like he has been the whole season, by all the people on the show and now all of America. So he's very careful, thinking through everything that he is going to say, which for good reason, because no matter what, he is going to get pummeled. They're going to just take every little thing at this point and nitpick the heck out of it. I have to say though, he deserves a lot of credit, because I don't know when this is filmed, but I'm sure he had some backlash by that point. And you have to be a very brave person to go up there with not one person in that room on your side and still try to defend yourself. And honestly, I'm really shocked at how hard he is getting hit, because we have had way worse guys on The Bachelorette. Way worse. We've got that musician that had a girlfriend, I think it was Jillian's season. The guy with the broken ankle or something that also had a girlfriend on Allie's season, who ran away in the bushes, wouldn't even talk to her. The guy who told Emily that her daughter was baggage. Juan Pablo, who was all about just banging all the girls. Like, come on. How is Luke the ultimate villain? Why isn't Jed getting more crap? Like, think about his situation. He planned to come on the show, keep his girlfriend. He could have potentially sabotaged Hannah's entire season, but now he suddenly has feelings for her, so it's okay. Oh, he loves her, so whatever. Like, what is going on here? But anyway, Luke owns up to his bold-faced lie, which in my opinion was the worst thing that he did the entire season. And he takes credit for it and apologizes. Then Mr. Nobody can't even remember your name, Devin, comes out because he feels the need to chime in. Devin, you are supposed to be in the back. You are backstage. They put you there on purpose. You're not supposed to come out. Do you see anybody else sitting out there? This is Luke's time to talk. This is not the Devin show. I don't know if you're trying to be the Bachelor or what's going on here, but you need to go back. Luke is legitimately in a battlefield right now. He doesn't have any armor, and everybody's coming after him. There's not one person there to defend him, and it was just totally unfair. You can't set somebody up like that. Like, if I were in that room, I would have been sticking up for him. They probably would have kicked me out because I would have ruined all of their plans for making this the Bash Luke show, but I would have defended him, not for his previous actions, not for the things that he said, but for the sheer fact that he is getting bullied like hardcore, and it's just that's never okay what people were doing to him. But he took it like a champ. To think about how I was hurting for him inside, I can only imagine how it felt for him. Then all the guys come out and somebody's holding up a stupid "stay in your lane" sign, and I just about threw up all over the floor. The Luke crap just continues. That's all that they had this season, was Luke stuff. So nobody can stop talking about it. And I'm sitting there watching it feeling like I am in the middle of the middle school cafeteria. Mike says Luke's wife is going to be a prisoner to him, that he doesn't accept his apology. And then Connor, the guy that I thought was the sweetest person ever, says, "F you, you psychopath." What happened to the nice guys? And I can't help but wonder if we had someone sitting in the audience like Sean Lowe or Ben Higgins, people who, stand up guys who you meet and you're just like, man, they are just genuinely good guys. What would they be saying? Would they be joining in this attack? They'd probably be defending him because we got either a bunch of evil bullies or a few evil bullies and a whole lot of bystanders. Nothing good comes of what these people are doing. I literally cannot stand when people try to get others on their side or like round up people at the expense of someone else. Like, oh yeah, that was a burn. I hate it. Misery loves company. And I feel like this is a great example of that. And then they also tell Luke, you can't talk to a woman like that. And honestly, this is an honest question. Did I miss something? Because what was said, what did he say that was that demeaning to Hannah or just to a woman in general? I missed it. But thank God, Mateo finally speaks up. And I'm rooting for Mateo for Bachelor. But he speaks up and says Luke has already gotten his punishment. Yes, he has. Thank you. It's just like we're beating a dead horse here. At this point, I almost just wanted to stop watching. It felt like someone had just taken a grenade and threw it on this whole season. But then John Paul Jones comes out, thank God, because I needed some comedic relief. And boy, did he deliver. Doesn't he always? But he comes out, tells it like it is, and said,
hey, I had a great time. I got free booze, a hot girl. How can you not have a great time?
I also love the clip of his underwear snap. I must have missed that the first time, but then that girl in the audience comes down with the scissors And this is like nauseating. This is so staged. And I'm just back to being annoyed again. You can't tell me that they would let a girl into that arena with a pair of scissors. That would never happen. And then the chicken nugget throwing. Now that, credit to John Paul Jones, was not staged, as you can tell from the waitress's face. Then it's Mike's turn. He comes up and I realize he has the biggest hands I've ever seen in my life, which also means he has the biggest. Then they show his breakup video, which, yeah, it was sad at the time, but then they pan to a girl in the audience, another terrible actor who's pretending to wipe tears from her eyes. I feel like we're watching Jerry Springer, but I was overall kind of underwhelmed with the Mike conversation. Wasn't too exciting. He's nice. I think they're trying to set him up for Bachelor. Maybe they're feeling it out, but I also I don't like the way he handled the Luke thing. I don't know. He's not my favorite anymore for Bachelor. But then Hannah comes out. And I was hoping that this part of the show would make me feel better about everything else that went on, but it didn't. It did just the opposite. It might have been the worst part of the whole show. First of all, she came on here with an agenda, and it was a Luke agenda. I don't know if she felt the need to defend herself, if she felt really embarrassed. I don't know. But the whole time, the focus was on Luke, even when nobody asked her about Luke. The focus was on him. I was a little bit bothered by the fact that she said she only went for Luke because she was insecure about herself, and Luke made it known that he was there for her. Well, so did like a gazillion other guys. But Luke takes a minute to apologize to her, which he's tried to before. But anyway, he apologizes, and she gives this like condescending smile. Like, okay. For some reason, him saying sorry sparks her to tell him that he has a lot of fruit left to grow. What does that mean? Testicles? And she's preaching about love and Christianity and giving love, showing love. But then she's over here treating him like pure dirt. And now, you can call someone out for a mistake, something that they did wrong, but there is a line between confronting and expressing your concerns and then straight up obliterating somebody. I feel like if somebody were to just jump into this season, start by watching the Men Tell All, I think they would have this image of Luke to be way worse than what he actually was. He was a pain. He did some annoying, immature things, but he is not like a demon. What he did on the show wasn't good, but it was not deserving of what he got. I think last night, Luke was the bigger person. I really do. He didn't react. He was handling his emotions. And quite possibly one of the most frustrating parts was when Hannah, oh man, and I get she was probably really emotional about everything. Sometimes people act out based on their emotions. So I get it. But she brings up the fantasy suite and what goes on in the fantasy suite and how it's not all about getting down in the fantasy suite. First of all, again, could be just the Bachelor here showing what they want to show, but she made it all about that. She made it all about that. And then she claims that she's not sitting there thinking about, who am I going to do it with in the fantasy suite? Can we just replay that one clip?
Gonna get down.
I don't think that that's the theme music to have a night of good conversation. So she continues to attack Luke, even though he hasn't said a word to her besides apologizing. He's literally just sitting there. And she just won't stop going off about the coitus thing. She was making a bigger deal out of it than he even was in the first place. Luke had basically one statement that he was standing by, which wasn't anything crazy, in my opinion. It was just kind of a matter of his faith. But then she takes that one thing and just blows it up. I really feel like I must have missed something because I just can't understand the extreme levels of her frustration. I understand her frustrations to an extent, but not to the extent that she was at. And then Luke leaves, and if I were him, I would have left too. And she's like confused as to why he's leaving. What's he supposed to do? Just keep taking all these punches? And Chris finally says, okay, let's move on. Thank you. Yes, let's move on. We just spent an hour and a half on why Luke sucks, which he doesn't. And then, okay. For some reason, they give Garrett a little bit of spotlight, like he's deserving. But he apologizes to Hannah. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad he's apologizing. But he's apologizing because he's sorry for her. I'm sorry, Hannah, that you were misled this whole season. Why aren't you apologizing that you were an idiot? Because you were an idiot. And thank God the bloopers came next because This was really tough for me to watch, but the bloopers were really good. Potentially some of the best bloopers in all the seasons. But just when I thought things were looking up, Hannah gives America an apology. She apologizes to everyone for having Luke on the television screen for so long. And this was the final straw for me. I am over it. Everyone forgets that these people are people. And I'm even guilty of it sometimes too when I'm talking on here. And then I post my video and I'm like, oh, that was kind of mean. But these people are people. Luke is a person. He has family that love him, friends that love him. And they're going to watch this and they're probably going to be even more hurt than Luke is. And here we are again, trying to make all of America laugh at the expense of another person. You know, it's one thing to roast somebody in like a joking way. They know it's coming, but it's another just to deliberately belittle somebody. And for the sake of ratings. You know, it just was really distasteful for me. Just it wasn't cool. And I was a little disappointed in Hannah that she did that. And the whole show in general. But last of it all was the previews. Wow, sorry, this was a really long video. And I am very passionate about it, clearly. I just had a lot to say. But anyway, the previews show a 2-night finale, which really ticks me off. So I'm probably only going to do one video, just a heads up, recapping both. But the Bachelor in Paradise previews were way more fulfilling to me because I kind of just don't even care what happens at the end of this anymore. Honestly, I hope she doesn't pick Tyler because I want him to be free to live life. I want her to pick Jed. I don't know what I want. Never mind. But my final thoughts before we leave. Okay, next season, I hope that they cast a lot of very mature people who are smart and level-headed. Because yes, drama is fun, but not when it feels like a kindergarten circus. I need something like to cleanse myself of that season. And I also hope whoever the Bachelor is somebody who speaks highly of people, who doesn't talk bad about other people, no matter what the situation is. One of those kinds of people that everybody has to like. You just can't not like them. You know, because I'm losing a little bit of hope in this show. It's become way too over the top. They went a little too far for ratings and it ended up crushing someone and potentially like ruining their life. And I don't like it. So that's it. Sorry, this was a total rant. Not usually a ranter. I felt like I needed to do it. Luke, if you watch this, know that I'm giving you a big virtual hug because you did not deserve what you got last night. And that's all I have to say. So I will see you guys next week for our finale. Oh my goodness, it's already here, but I'll see you then.